Hello students, today we're going to talk about the principles of design. There are 7 of them and they include balance, contrast, emphasis, movement, pattern, rhythm, and unity. Let's get started. First we have balance. Balance is how the elements of art relate to each other within a composition in terms of visual weight. What does that mean? Well, here's what it means. I'm going to use these 3 unicorns to help me explain. If these unicorns were placed exactly like this, to where there's the same amount of unicorns on the left side as the right side, then this would be a symmetrical work of art because the weight is evenly distributed. However, if these unicorns decided to all move to the right side, then this would become an asymmetrical piece of art because all the unicorns are weighing to the right side. There's also radial symmetry. Radial symmetry is when an image mirrors itself from left to right and from top to bottom, kind of like this snowflake. If you were to fold this snowflake in half, it wouldn't matter how you folded it in half, it would reflect itself. Now we're going to talk about contrast. Contrast is the arrangement of opposite elements in a piece to create visual interest, excitement, and drama. So here we have this white triangle. It's not very interesting, it's not very exciting, and it's definitely not dramatic. However, it becomes way more interesting, excited, and dramatic if you add a contrasting color to it. Here's another example. The red and the blue really contrast each other. So this image is exciting and it's dramatic. Now we're going to talk about emphasis. Emphasis is an area or object in a piece of art that draws attention and becomes the focal point. In many, many works of art, this is going to stick out like a sore thumb. Here's an example. You have all these burgers in this image. None of them stick out from each other because they're all green, they're all the same size, and none of them stick out from each other. However, now we have some emphasis. That burger is larger, it's a different color, and it's a dark color that contrasts to the light colors. Now we're going to talk about movement. Movement creates a sense of motion in an artwork. Here's an example. Now, the best way to explain this is to ask this question. Does she look like she's standing still? No, she doesn't. So this is a great image to explain movement. So is this. Wait a second. No, it's not. That is the complete opposite of an image that has movement. Here's more good examples. You can kind of think of it as an action shot. Now let's talk about pattern. Pattern is the repetition of elements in a recognizable organization. We're going to need to remember that here in just a second. It's in a recognizable organization. So just like when we were little, we kind of remember learning about patterns, A-B patterns. You got wiener dog snail, wiener dog snail, wiener dog snail. Well, in art, it's not quite that simple, but almost. Here's 2 examples. You see, the elements in these images make sense, and they repeat again and again and again throughout the artwork in an organized fashion. Now let's talk about rhythm. Rhythm is a combination of repeated elements with variation. So unlike pattern, where the things were put in order that made sense and it was repeating, this is using the same elements but with variation. Here's an example. This image uses triangles throughout the entire piece. However, throughout the piece, the triangles change size, they change positioning, and they're not in a specific pattern that makes sense. Here's another example. These flags are kind of stacked on top of each other. That's not a pattern, that would be rhythm, because the pattern would be a flag sitting next to each other again and again and again. But this is a rhythm because the flags are on top of each other. It just kind of makes sense. The last principle of design that we are going to discuss today is unity. Unity is a sense of wholeness that results from successfully combining elements in an artwork. So I decided to give this a shot with my own composition. Here it is. Now, after looking at it further, I don't think that this piece of art really has that much unity. The circle has nothing to do with the scribble has nothing to do with the line. They're not the same color, they're not the same shape, they're not the same size. Nothing's the same. Nothing goes together. So this picture lacks unity. Here are some good examples. This has repeated colors, it has repeated movements, and it just overall gives a sense of unity and wholeness. So does this image of ice cream cones. So, we just learned about all the principles of design, which were balance, contrast, emphasis, movement, pattern, rhythm, and unity. Until next time.